Hey, friends! It's Monday. I'm here with Lisa, Kayla, and Sophie on this beautiful Monday morning, and we are excited to chat with you about boundary setting today. So, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Tamika, and I teach stay at home moms how to win in life one healthy habit at a time. And I'm going to let my friends go through and kind of introduce themselves. So, Lisa, tell us who you are, where you're from, and what you enjoy.
Okay, so my name is Lisa Galloway. I am a mom of two and I am married. I'm also an ultrasound technician, and I love to empower women to love themselves from the inside out and to love be happy with their bodies and just, new habits and new changes.
I
And
love
then
it.
I'm Kayla Starr. I'm here in North Platte, Nebraska, and it is gloomy and cold right now. So tell me what the weather's like where you are. I'm here. My passion is to just bring smiles to the table, knowledge that I'm learning to share with others, and just be a positive light, really, to the world because we all need that.
Amen.
Hey, I'm Sophie. I'm from Maryland. I'm hoping for rain today, so call the rain. Do your rain dance. I teach single women, single ambitious working women how to supplement their income online to stress less and live more. And drop stress less in the comments so we can know that you want to stress less.
Yes. All right. So I don't know about you guys, but I am like, there's like a little bit of background noise or a little bit of feedback. I don't know what it's like for you guys. In fact, as you're watching, tell us where you're watching from. But maybe we can mute when we're not talking because I don't know if that's it or if it's something else. Do you guys hear it? Am I the only one? Okay.
No, I hear it too.
Okay. So I don't hear it when we're muted. So let's just mute out if we're not talking. But anyway, so today we're going to talk about setting boundaries because this is a really important piece to help you live a better life. And so Sophie came up with the idea. So Sophie, why did you want to chit chat about setting boundaries today?
I thought that setting boundaries was a good subject because I have a 30 plus year old son, and he doesn't know how to say no, just like his mama. And I just thought that it would be a topic that we can talk about and talk about the steps that needs to be done in order to set boundaries, why we should set boundaries, and how we can set them. And I thought of some, or I saw somewhere where there were 4 reasons why we should set boundaries. One of the reasons is it honors your needs. People know what you need. People know what, how you like certain things said. And it also builds your self-esteem because that way people won't, you won't feel as though you are not worthy or anything that people tells you is the right thing instead of you setting your own boundaries. It also improves conflict resolutions because if a person knows where to draw the line, then there won't be any arguments. And the last thing is it can lower your stress level because it's very stressful. Sometimes, because I know for myself, it's very hard for me to say no to someone, and not setting the boundaries. It's very stressful because I'm like, I don't want to do that, but I'm afraid to say no because I feel like the person's not going to like me anymore. There goes the self-esteem part of it, and it we really have to set those boundaries so people know how far to go with you, and you're not trying to be mean. You're not trying to be mean, but you know what is good for you, what's not good for you, what sets you off. So setting the boundaries will help people to understand how far they can go with you, or what needs to be said and what does not need to be said. Yeah.
I think it's also very important too, because depending on the different type of personality you have, you can't say no, even though you want to say no. And sometimes you have to say no, especially depending on like, your situation. But just say like for us, like I work and then I have the kids and then I'm trying to do this business on the side. Well, I have to make time to do it. So I have to say no to things that I can't, just drop everything on my days off, because this is important to me too. So I have to say no to those people, or situations or things sometimes, to make time for something else that I enjoy doing. Especially when you are working and you have to deal with the kids' schedules, like you have to make time for yourself. So you need to say no, and that helps you serve yourself.
And you guys, I think there's just so many different forms of boundaries. So for me, I think of like boundaries with family members because that is something that I struggle with terribly. Gotten better, but like to the point I was making toxic situations for my own personal family with my husband and kids because I just couldn't set that boundary with close family members of needing my attention or help or, you know, and, over the last couple years, I have, with self-development and reading books and like, learning new things, that it's okay that I don't need to help everybody in every situation. And it feels so good when you do like actually set a boundary and follow through with it. Like I can breathe. Like I don't have to, like the world's not going to fall apart because I didn't do something that somebody needed or asked of me. So that's what I really think about when I think of boundaries. And like I said, so if you guys have any tips too, whoever's watching, like please drop them because I can always use tips as well as everybody else. So whoever, comes across this replay or anything, boundaries I think is super, super powerful in living a positive life.
And when I first heard Sophie talk about boundaries, the quote that always comes to my mind is you teach people how to treat you based on what you allow. And, just like you said, we want to be a people pleaser. Like we don't want to like not have people like us because we tell them no. And I was the kind of person that's like yes to everybody else but myself. And what does that ultimately do? Nothing for my future. The only way that you get closer to your goals is if you're working towards them. But if you're constantly saying yes to everybody else, then where's your time going? And so I'm curious, I wrote down some things and I'm so glad you guys mentioned this because we need boundaries with our families and our friends. Whatever that looks like. We need boundaries for our time that we're giving to things. Is there anything else, boundaries that you can think of that we might need to set some things around?
Yeah, I think there's boundaries with health. What you eat, what you're doing to move. I think there's boundaries in every aspect of our lives and we just don't think about it.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? Health, time, family, relationships,
money. Finances.
Yeah, just pretty much just say no to the things that don't serve you. If they don't give you a purpose,
That's true too. Very true.
All right. I love it. So let's now kind of shift gears for somebody who wants to set boundaries in their health, their family, their relationships, their money, their time, any of them. What would you say would be the steps that you personally used or the steps that you'd recommend for people to start being able to set boundaries in their life?
My first tip is take time to think about that situation, whatever it is you need that boundary for. Because don't just make a irrational decision. I think it needs to be thought out if it definitely isn't going to serve or not serve you.
And I think also you don't have to answer the phone every time it rings. You don't have to answer a text every time you get a text, especially if it's a text asking you to do something that you really don't want to do, maybe not want to do at all, or at that particular time. So take time for yourself. Don't be afraid to say no.
And also, like, if someone is giving an opinion that maybe you don't agree on, or it's something that you're doing that maybe they don't think is right, you just pretty much just have to put your foot down and just say, like, I respect your thoughts on this, but this is my decision. And, like, as nice as possible, make that clear. You're not doing it to be mean. You're not, like, it's just something that you just kind of have to put your foot down and stick to your guns.
Oh my gosh, that's so hard.
It is.
And I think also another thing that we can do is visualize the boundary that you want to set. And then once you visualize it, then you're able to communicate that boundary with someone and make your boundaries clear to everyone that needs to know it.
So good. So as I was kind of thinking about like what's important is I would say like number one, to have a goal in mind. Like what are you trying to achieve? Because it's okay to say yes to everybody else if you don't want to go anywhere in your life. But like if you do have certain goals that you want to hit, being aware of that. And then like Kayla said, like taking time, and Sophie said visualizing, like what do you want it to look like? Like what parts aren't going well, and how can you adjust things to help it go your way a little bit more. And then the second thing is, I would say, like setting your priorities. Like Lisa said, a lot of us are moms. A lot of us have other jobs. We have maybe some church obligations or community obligations or school obligations that we have to do. And so sometimes you do have to say yes, because you have to show up in these areas that maybe don't bring you joy, or in these areas that like you just are committed to. And so like, what are your priorities? And so you've got your goals, you've got your priorities, and then you can kind of create your boundaries along that. And, that's really important as far as creating a life of success that you want, but then also creating boundaries around toxic people. I don't know, was this on the Zoom call that we were working on Friday when they were talking about like the crab mentality on Friday? Were you guys on when they were talking about like the crabs in the bucket? Anybody? Okay, maybe I heard it somewhere else. I don't know. I thought it was on our power hour on Friday, which this is our power hour crew. I love it. But it was talking about like crabs in the bucket. And so first, this happens all of the time. Whenever you want to better your life and the people around you don't want to see you better your health, don't want to see you better your finances, don't want to see you move in a direction, what are they going to do? They're going to try and like chop you down. They're going to try to spread, hate or shade your way. And they don't want to see you climb out of the bucket. And what they were talking about on this video was they lure the crabs in with bait. And there's not enough on there for everybody to get, but they lure the crabs into the bucket with bait. And then the crabs can't, oh, now you guys remember? Were you there? Okay. And so then the crabs are like trying to get out, and they don't let them. They literally like rip the legs off of these crabs that are trying to get out. And so, how many times do we see that in our lives? And I personally, and you guys know, like I personally, especially when you're running a business, everybody's not going to get along. Everybody's not going to be on the same page, which is okay. We empower people to be themselves, but sometimes there's just toxicity where you have to draw a line. You have to put your foot down for the betterment of yourself, the betterment of others. And you have to like block, you have to unfriend, you have to remove toxic people, because otherwise they're going to completely, ruin your whole soup, or like pull the legs off of other people. And you don't want that. And so do you guys have any thoughts on bettering yourself and protecting your space when it comes to setting boundaries?
Yeah, that when you started like telling the story, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. And honestly, that analogy it's exactly what it looks like when you're explaining it, and how it feels. For me personally, I felt like I had to create this different positive boundary on my identity. Growing up, people had this thought of me that wasn't really me on the inside, even though I did, I acted a certain way because I was protecting my like myself, just to how I grew up and stuff. And you know, it took me to like say, like when somebody would be like, oh, don't mess with Kayla or something, or like make me sound like a mean person, which I mean, if I if I needed to be, I was, but that's really truly not who I am in here. Like, and so it took me to be like, no, like, listen, like I was this way because of that. Like, so I did do a lot of explaining, I felt, but that was how I needed to like break that identity curse that was on me, because that's not who I am and that's not who I wanted to live forward being or known as. So it took a lot of boundary setting and really sticking up for myself, because people, I mean, then they still do. So now people, you know, they're like, oh, wow, she really changed, or, you know, but not in a good way. People think that, they think it's fake, and it's totally not. But I'm okay with that because I'm comfortable being who I am now because I set those boundaries.
I think it's just important too who you surround yourself with, because negativity, it can rub off on you, and it can change, you know, who you are, or just your mood and everything else. So just positive people, positive vibes, it makes you feel better. And it's just important to surround yourself with those positive people, because negativity will definitely bring you down.
I agree with that, Lisa, because you know, they have this saying that show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. So if you're around negative people, then they're good. People are going to think that you are a negative person as well, and then they're going to want to shy away from you, because most people, the way the world is right now, nobody wants negativity around them. So, sorry, an Amber Alert. Sorry. Nobody wants negative people around them, so they are going to shy away from you.
I love it. And I'm so glad that we talked about this today. And I'm sad that I don't see very many comments. Come on, you guys, tell us where you're watching from. What's resonating with you? Have you experienced something like this? Do you have a win, or do you know that you need to have a conversation with people? And, you know, right before we hopped on here, we were listening to Craig Rochelle, and he was talking about what leaders do, and leaders have the hard conversations. And so ultimately, you know, if you're feeling in your gut that, you know, you need to make a change, then you got to make a change, right? Someone said, Amber is here too. So you're not alone in that area.
Well, and for anyone that's watching too, and you see any of our videos and you want to have a deeper conversation, just message any of us that, you know, whoever you're resonating with. Our inboxes are open. We're willing to talk and guide you in the right direction of, you know, getting on that path. So just don't ever hesitate to reach out.
And just have a friend, have an ally, somebody that you can talk to and like be like, I did this, you know, I did a hard thing, and have somebody to like be there cheerleading for you.
Give you a high five. Yep.
You said
Someone, I can't see who it is. Oh, I'm sorry, Tamika. Did I cut you off?
No.
Oh, someone says I live around negative people and it's hard. I don't know who it is. It is very hard to live around negative people. One thing that I have learned is when someone is starting to take a negative tone in a conversation, as hard as it is, one thing that you can do is change the conversation, steer it in a positive, try to steer it in a positive way. Some people won't allow you to, but try to steer it in a different direction. And sometimes that works, sometimes it will not work, but most of the times it will work, because the person is going to look at themselves and like, if they're a genuine person, they'll look at themselves and see that something wasn't right here and try to make the right moves.
Yeah, that's good.
Or changes, I should say.
Definitely good. And I think it's good too. And I mean, all the time, you know, we're always trying to find the good in our bad situations, and definitely a tool that we've learned through being a part of this business for sure, you know, finding the good in situations and always looking for the silver lining and what lesson can we learn. And, you know, there are those people that they just want to sit in their muck. They just want to They just want to be grouchy and complain. And I don't hang around those people. You know, I'll try to change things around. And if they're not willing to, then I'm moving on, because I don't have time in my day and in my emotional capacity to just deal with negativity. I want to look for the good and move on. So I love that, Sophie. Encourage people to look for good. And if they're not willing to, then do your best to keep yourself separate as much as possible. But thanks, you guys. This was amazing. Be sure that you are following us on our social media pages. You check out the links in our bio. We all have different things that we like to offer. And ultimately, our goal is just to help everybody, including ourselves, live better, happier, more fulfilled lives. So we'll see you guys on the next one.